Welcome to the Bravo Charlie Club podcast, making you 12 and a half minutes more awesome each week. He's Ben. I'm Richard. Let's go.
Richard, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. And yourself, Ben?
Really well, really well. Thoroughly enjoying being a podcaster.
I know. Our new career.
New career in the making. In particular, listener correspondence. I'm going to kick off this week with a listener feedback. He prefers to be referred to as a long-term critic and an occasional listener. Given we've only done 5 episodes, or this is the 5th episode, I'm not sure what an occasional listener means, but thank you for listening. He's actually shared an efficiency hack for us.
Oh,
he said
nice.
He plays our podcasts in 1.5 speed, and instead of 12.5 minutes, it only takes him 8 minutes and 20 seconds to listen to a Bravo Charlie Club podcast. I'm concerned we might sound like chipmunks at 1.5 times speed.
I think it's a valid concern. I think my voice is squeaky enough and high pitched already, so even worse. You'll have to send a recording in.
Yeah, I love the fact that there's not only feedback but return hacks and tips coming back from listeners. Please, if you have anything, hello@bravocharlie.club or through the other socials, which you'll find. In a recent episode, we touched on Inbox Zero, email management. And listener ZW asked for more on the topic of newsletters, which you alluded to. I think woodworking got a bit of a run in that pod.
It did.
In particular, it was just a little bit interested in if there was any newsletters that you couldn't do without.
Lenny's newsletter gets a big run. Lenny is just a machine. I must get 2 or 3 a week from him. I've recently gone through a big purge, but Lenny's made the cut. I think he's got permanent place in my inbox. How about you, Ben? What's on your newsletter list?
Unsubscribe is a favourite click through for me. However, there are a couple I'll probably never unsubscribe from. Nick Crocker, who's an Aussie. I think he's involved in venture capital, actually. But one thing I think he does almost as a hobby is curates the internet for me in a newsletter called Branches, and it's just the most beautiful newsletter that he can go months without printing one. But then when it comes out, it'll take you 3 weeks to read it if you actually read every link. If that comes in, I'd literally delete everything else in my reading list because it's just quality. There's so much information that he's found or wanting to share that just resonates with me. So I really enjoy that. Nick Crocker Branches.
Nick, yep.
And I think James Clear, who some people would know his book Atomic Habits, which is on the bestseller list. He sends once a week, and it's a 4-minute read, tops. And I really, really enjoy that. It's just a bit of a reminder of how you should consider spending your time. And the final one you and I laugh about very, very regularly is Sean Puri's five tweets.
Uncle Sean. Yeah.
5 tweets of the week where he literally picks the 5 best tweets and shares them and then comments on why they were so good usually. But usually they don't need any comment. A lot of his content speaks for itself.
It's such a great idea, though, isn't it? So he just distills that down, and they're on point. Every
Absolutely.
time there's a laugh or something in there. Yeah, it's great value.
I enjoy that, and someone automating my reading for me. That does actually tie nicely, though, into the Fully Awake Project segment. And this is from James Clear. I'm going to read this so I don't get it wrong. The cost of convenience is vitality. You can have a lot of things done for you in the modern world, and many of them are great time savers. But the feeling of being alive comes from being fully engaged in the right task, not free from all tasks. You can automate and delegate all sorts of things, but the more interesting question is, what fills you with so much liveliness that you want to do the work yourself? And I thought, wow, we're so in this world, automate, make
Yeah.
things,
Yep.
seamless, make it just easy. But what wouldn't you automate, Richard? What's fills you with liveliness?
It's a good question. I think for me, and it's probably quite personal. I really like cooking. Actually, I was software engineer by trade, and software is patterns, applying patterns, knowing the sort of context of patterns, what pattern to use in a certain situation versus another, and then you've kind of got code and syntax kind of layered on there, but you're sort of trying to achieve an objective and you sort of break it down into its constituent parts and then sort of reassemble that up into a final piece of software. And I find cooking, kind of captures a lot of those same similar things that I get from software. You're learning new techniques, how to make a sauce, how to do something like that. How you're putting together a carbonara or a lasagna, or you're layering things back up. So I quite enjoy the process of making food. We're a very ingredient based household. It's much to the annoyance of my daughter, who's there's nothing to eat. Well, you've just got to make something. No, that's not what she means. I think for me that's the thing I like to do at the end of the day. Kind of wind down by making dinner or something
I
along
like
those
it. Yeah, it
lines.
sounds
So
sounds like our household. We're
yeah.
very ingredient based as well. We love to cook from scratch. Mind you, I probably wouldn't mind automating that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, the cheeky pizza from the shop round the corner now and then doesn't go
Yeah,
astray either.
100%.
How
For
about you,
me,
Ben? What's on
yeah,
the list? Yeah.
I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't automate anything related to my kids. Like if I know that they could get an Uber home from the airport or something like that, which is a version of automation. But
Yep.
I value that 20 minutes that I can have with them, so I'll go and get them. Pretty simple one, and I think it probably sounds a bit naff, and I know that they listen to this as well. So hey, girls. However,
Shout
yeah,
out.
it's
Yeah.
just that's just how I value my time. If I can do that, I will for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of airports, travel tip of the week. We are officially becoming a travel podcast.
We are.
But this one caught me. I was talking to someone, who'd lost their wallet,
Oh
and
no. Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, you've got copies of everything. And they're like, what are you talking about? And, because it used to be just standard
Oh,
advice.
yes.
Before you went on an overseas trip, empty your wallet on the table, take a photo of everything,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
it to yourself, right?
Yep.
The only upgrade to that advice is I'd probably put the copies into a password vault, with encrypted protection. So,
Yes.
and also don't forget to copy the picture page of your passport. If you've ever tried to replace a passport, you can't just describe it to
Yeah.
that's right. Ironically, there's about 7 billion of those in the world. Just make sure you've got a copy of that as well. But right now, if you're not using a password manager, which is a completely different topic,
Mm.
get a password manager. Inside of that, you'll be able to store an encrypted version of the contents of your wallet, and that's how I would solve that one.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah. How about you, mate? You've been doing a fair bit of travel recently. You've got anything that's jumped up to mind that listeners will benefit from?
I have, it was a bit of a, I don't know if it's a travel hack, but I guess it's a realization that I found interesting. So I travel a lot to Melbourne for work, 35 to 50 days a year. And I've got my favorite breakfast haunts that I like to attend while I'm down there.
Don't
So
we
I
all?
would just book the
Melbourne's
room.
great.
I'll go to my favorite joint. They have familiarity and that sort of thing. But I accidentally booked a room that included breakfast the 2 trips ago, and the realization kind of hit me that work's not going to pick up the tab for me to have breakfast at my favorite joint, but if it's all bundled into the hotel, then that's $30 a day or more if you have 2 coffees. But
Mm-hmm.
let's just go for 1 coffee and a meal, about $30. And so when you multiply it out, that's 1,000, fifteen
Yeah,
hundred bucks a year
1,000.
of extra cash that I've that I've
And we like cash.
snobbishly thrown away. But
Yeah.
yeah, my cash.
Yeah.
To have breakfast in places that I enjoy. So and actually the hotel breakfasts are pretty good, really,
Yeah.
in terms of quality. So I'm not really missing out. And usually you can just get in and just go straight down there. There's no waiting around or queuing up or anything. And because it's self-serve, you can actually turn it over pretty quick. So you actually have more time back in the morning as well. So there we go. That's a
putting cash back in listeners'
cash back in listeners'
pockets.
Well, cash back in my own pockets, right? After doing this forever, and I've only finally worked it out.
Hotel buffet breakfast worldwide.
Yes.
Another potential sponsor. We'll add that to the list of outreach.
Take the option. Take the hotel breakfast option. Have work pay.
Mate, Conundrum of the Week's always been my most popular section, my most favourite section. I want to talk to you. I'm in a swim club, and very loosely definition for club, given that there's 4 of us in it. And 2 swim on a regular basis, and
right.
and 2 are included in the WhatsApp chat group. I think, and I'm one of the 2 who doesn't really swim on a regular basis, by the way. But I think that part of the reason it's broken down is one of the guys has started to wear a snorkel in a pool.
Right. Controversial, and yes.
The conundrum of the week is, like, should snorkels actually be allowed in pools? I feel like a snorkel should be in an island life. You're looking for turtles over a coral reef. If you're looking at a black line, it's not going to change.
Is it one of those things with a giant mask and the sort of like really big goggles and the black little
that's
tube?
That's the traditional. Yeah, no, it's one that sort of goes over your head like an arrow fin. Like,
right.
The guys who design these things will probably insist that there's a biomechanical advantage to swimming with one.
It goes right over your face. How does it clip on? What, like?
I'm not a scientist. But I just, for me, I've done a lot of swimming in my past, and but now when I swim, I sort of feel like I'm swimming for endurance. I'm imagining that the boat's burning, and I've dived off it to swim 5 kilometres back to shore, and I forgot to grab the snorkel. So I need to bilateral breathe my way for the next 5Ks. And you're not getting that advantage when you're swimming with a snorkel. And I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this one, but I wondered if you had an opinion to share to me.
I don't know. I don't know if I do have an opinion. Yeah. None. No opinion at all. I mean, I think that the fact that for going out and swimming, I think learning to breathe on each side as part of the stroke. So I breathe bilaterally as well every 3rd stroke. I find it helps me swim straighter as well. But yeah. Don't know.
All right. Well, it's official. If you swim with a snorkel in a swimming pool, you can be disowned from the club if there's only 4 members. That's how I'm solving it. You've not swayed me either way. All right. Well, look, that's it. Listeners have been BCC'd on our week, Richard. Bravo, Charlie.
And that's the pod.